Nikkei Asia News Roundup
with Jada and Brian. Welcome to the Nikkei Asia News Roundup with your hosts Jada and Brian,
bringing you the latest updates and insights on the dynamic world of Asia and more.
Now let's delve into the headlines. This program is brought to you by Nikkei.
Hong Kong is poised to reclaim its crown as the top spot for initial public offerings, estimates show, potentially ending a 5-year cold streak.
Anthropic will open its first Asian office in Tokyo as early as this autumn, as the American venture behind ChatGPT rival Claude aims to capture Japanese demand for labor-saving technology amid a shortage of workers.
BTS, South Korea's global boy band sensation, is set to return, with all 7 members completing their mandatory military or alternative social service by the end of June. Now the question is, can a reunited BTS breathe new life into a K-pop industry showing signs of stagnation?
When it comes to the auto industry, China has built up some of the world's most advanced vehicle manufacturing and software. Now it is making moves in another area crucial to success: finance.
The Philippines has waived tourist visa requirements for Taiwan passport holders in the latest sign of warming relations between Taipei and Manila, as both faced pressure from China.
Vietnam has approved its first ever free trade zone to be set up in the central city of Da Nang, a tourist hotspot and tech hub that will also host an international financial center in the coming years. Now moving on to the next segment.
Nikkei Film. Why learn English in the age of AI? AI can correctly answer about 90% of the University of Tokyo's English entrance exam questions and is capable of achieving a 900 out of a 990 perfect score on the TOEIC, the test of English for international communication. The average TOEIC score for Japanese in 2023 was 561. Developments such as these are significant enough that, in the words of one AI translation researcher, quote, "practical English for business use should be left to AI." Meanwhile, English language education has accelerated in Japan in order to better nurture people who can play active roles in the world, a move that has received a strong push from the business community. English language kindergartens and international schools are also popular, and parents are enthusiastic about English education. However, these advancements in AI have raised an intriguing question. Is English language education even necessary anymore? When 5th grade students, who are just starting to learn English, were asked about this, opinion was divided. Some felt that English learning was no longer needed, with others worried about becoming too dependent on AI for communication.
Wars and crypto bring Pakistan army chief to Trump's lunch table. The lunch meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Pakistan's Army Chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir, at the White House last week proved something of a diplomatic breakthrough, as Islamabad woos Trump with its recently announced National Crypto Reserve Plan. Munir became the first serving Army Chief of Pakistan who was not at the head of a military government to have a meeting with a sitting U.S. president. It was also the first interaction between a top Pakistani official and a U.S. president since July 2019, when Prime Minister Imran Khan and Trump met in the White House. The reason I had Munir here was that I wanted to thank him for not going into the war with India, Trump told reporters after the meeting. The serious recent clash after a deadly attack in India-administered Kashmir began on May 7th. By the time a ceasefire was agreed on May 10th, there were 51 dead in Pakistan and at least 16 in India. How all this translated into a White House lunch invitation for Munir has not been made clear, but there are some theories. The Trump-Munir meeting took place due to a combination of Trump's dismissiveness and irritation toward Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his preference for directly engaging with strongmen, and his self-image as a global peacemaker, one political analyst told Nikkei Asia. A Pakistani official also hinted the meeting was the result of extensive diplomatic efforts by Islamabad, including the recent announcement of a national crypto reserve.
And now for news highlights. Today we're sharing a couple of Nikkei Asia's most well-read stories in the last few days.
And one of the stories actually that caught my eye was about air conditioner market.
I wonder why, because if we're not aware, listeners, we're in Tokyo, and Tokyo has been very warm and humid the last few days. Mm-hmm. And India is notorious for being hot in the summer months and a lot of other times.
Yes. In Japan, or at least, I know Tokyo for sure, you definitely need an air conditioner to survive the summer. It's just not possible. And it's a huge market in terms of global air conditioner sales, I guess. But India has become number 2 in the market, surpassing Japan.
Surpassing Japan. It's nowhere near China, but China is already a huge market for it. But yeah, India is getting more and more into using air conditioning, not just because of how hot it's getting, but because there's government initiatives telling people to please use air conditioning because it's an easier way to prevent heat stroke, and also because more people can afford it.
Yeah, so it used to be a luxury item, so not many people had it, but with temperatures now like 50 Celsius.
50 Celsius. Yeah. That's for our Fahrenheit friends out there. That's in the 100 and teens, somewhere up there. That's way up there.
Yes.
But those are the rare occasions, but they still happen. And so one of the big questions is, can people get over a certain income threshold so more people can afford air conditioners, and also can air conditioners become more affordable? And that's the big deal right now.
Yeah. And one of the, one of the biggest air conditioner developers or companies in Japan is Daikin. It's a well-known name in Japan, but obviously it sees an opportunity in India now, and it's going in there. Another company, I think Mitsubishi Electric, is also trying to expand in India. And what I thought another interesting point was that they're not really concerned about Chinese competition in the market because of Modi's Make in India initiative. So China has been kind of shut out basically from the market. So it's a little different from EVs, but
that's interesting.
Yeah, so Japanese companies see an opportunity there. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
So moving on, should we go from hot India to cool Japan, or should we? Okay, we'll do that.
Yes, I like that.
Okay, this is number 3 on the week. It's called Wanted: 30,000 Animators. Japan's anime future at risk. And this is something, if you follow this industry, it's a trend that keeps on going. Is that anime is very popular, not just in Japan but around the world. It actually is more popular overseas now than it is in Japan in terms of how much money it brings in. It's something like a 60-40 split now. And it's just growing. But the problem is there's not enough animators.
Yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
And they're going to need more, but famously the industry doesn't pay that well. Yeah. And now there's this interesting development going on where there's it's hard to explain, but there's experts, people who've been in the industry for decades, and they're having trouble teaching newcomers because newcomers can't get guaranteed employment, like long-term employment, benefits, higher salary. So they, early on in their careers, they think about not even getting involved in it. So it's hard to bring in and attract young animators who are willing to make the sacrifice. So this article explores the question of what can Japan do, because this industry is just going to keep on growing, and it's putting more pressure on the people that are already there.
Yeah, I actually have one high school friend who works in the anime industry, and she doesn't really work for a big studio, but a smaller studio where big studios offer jobs that they can probably work on from time to time. And I mean, the time is just the time she works is just mind blowing, and for the pay that she's getting, she said a lot of people are trying to starting to think about more options, Is this really what they want to do for the rest of their life? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a question they're going to have to confront actually right now, not just soon.
Yes.
But one of the things a couple of studios are already doing is they're kind of very high-end apprenticeships where they promise to focus on young animators to make them, give them the skills, pass on the baton, so to speak.
I'm sure with the emergence of AI, that's also kind of affecting the industry. So I'm sure it's hard for people who've been in the industry to teach new people because there's new technology coming out.
That's going to be one that I think we'll have a few articles on in the future.
Yes, definitely.
But more currently, one more story we can touch on, because we haven't talked about this in the podcast, but it's been going on for a few weeks now, is Thailand and Cambodia.
Yes. So there was a border clash, and that's kind of gone into a whole political crisis in Thailand.
It can be some parts entertaining, but also concerning, because a little bit of background. We have several stories on this, but our 5 things to know is the one that made the list, is about what is the history behind this. And it goes back over a century, over a temple that is right on the border and which side of the border it's on, and that's been going back and forth in decades since. And there was a clash, and a soldier died, and there was exchange of gunfire. And now Cambodia and Thailand are threatening trade, threatening to shut their borders. Thailand just shut its border. Meanwhile, Hun Sen, the former prime minister, who is the father
of Cambodia,
of Cambodia, who is the father of the current prime minister, he's been going on Facebook and elsewhere, basically taunting the Thai government.
Yes.
He posted just a few days ago a message saying, "I don't think the current prime minister of Thailand will be there much longer, and I know who's going to replace her, but I won't tell you."
Yeah.
And what's going on here? And so it's entertaining in that way, but it's also a bit concerning because it does actually look like the Thai government is in a bit of trouble.
So the prime minister, Paetongtarn Shinawatra, she was elected in August of last year, I believe. So it's less than a year.
Less than a year.
She's already kind of facing a major crisis because of a leaked audio file of her and you just mentioned Hun Sen's conversation, where she calls one of Thailand's army general or chief an opponent. So that's kind of,
And she referred to Hun Sen in an affectionate, kind of
Uncle,
a friendly
I think.
uncle, which is how it translates. But it's some people consider it a little too friendly. So there is that controversy of what's going on there.
Yeah. And one of I think the second largest party has left her coalition government. So now there's just major re-scrambling of ministerial posts going on. As you said, the economic situation, it might be hurt because both sides are putting out, economic, I don't want to say sanctions, but restrictions, I think. Cambodia has restricted gas and fuel imports from
and also
Thailand.
Migrant labor. There's a lot of Cambodians who work in Thailand in the fisheries, agriculture, and they don't know what to do right now. And a lot of them are being told to maybe come home for now. And that could have a lot of knock-on effects on both economies.
Yes.
And that brings us to the close of today's episode.
We look forward to having you join up again for the next edition of the Nikkei Asia News Roundup.
Stay informed, stay curious. Until next time, I'm Jada.
And I'm Brian. See you again, and take care. This program is brought to you by Nikkei.